Cats chose these readings today because they wanted to make sure you understood that they are very theological beings, that they consider, here we go, they consider their work here to be exceedingly important. And they want you to know that they can call on Scripture, and that they also point to clerics, monks going back centuries and working with cats. Now, Ishmael, Jacob, and Judith would like to thank their Cats with Clergy colleagues for their contributions to today's sermon. They would especially like to thank Edgar, Agatha, Rudy, Juliet, Nuru, Milo, Hannah, Sim, Bingley, George, Basil the former street cat, Gemma, Ron, Mocha, Abby, Heloise, Tubby, Huck, Molly, Ben, Orpheus, Socrates, Gandalf, Penny Kitty, Oliver, Calcifer, Ty, and Tally. And this is the wisdom they wish to share with you today. The first lesson is to remember to speak up for yourself and ask for help when you need it. Being your own advocate is empowering in itself, and help is there for us. Sometimes we need to let others know that the food bowl is nearly empty. Nearly empty meaning that there's a divot in it, or that we would like someone to sit with us while we eat. Sometimes we need to let someone know that we don't feel well, or that we're lonely. Sometimes we just need to let others know. The next lesson is related, and it is about consent. Consent is not a one-time blanket thing. Consent for touch or entering personal space must be granted for each occasion. Consent for scritches behind the ears does not mean consent to be picked up or consent for belly rubs. Consent may be withdrawn at any time. If you wish to have scritches behind your ears for a short while, but then you don't want any more, say so. Consent may always be withdrawn. Bodily autonomy is critical. We are all made in the image of the divine, and the cats wish me to remind you that this especially applies to cats. After all, the ancient Egyptians did worship cats. Therefore, we are obliged to treat each other as holy vessels with all the respect that entails. No one is too young or too old to have autonomy over one's own body. Be curious, ask questions, and explore cautiously. There is no shame in going to your safe space for a time while you check things out. It's okay to explore new things slowly. Now, a word about fear. Ishmael is a liberation theologian, and he is especially fond of the human theologian, James Cone, who he is sure must have known cats. Cone reminds us that the oppressed have known fear and have good reason to be afraid. Simply telling cats, or people, not to fear will not do. For those cats who have only lived a life of privilege, always being bold might be fine. But for those who have been oppressed, who have lived on the streets, and who have had to face the barky beasts, who have had to face them all on their own sometimes, the fear is very real. Ishmael urges us to consider a liberation theology perspective in all things, Now we can do this by stepping out of our own place of privilege and attempting to see things from another perspective. This can be hard to do when we only have our own perspective, so we must read other perspectives and listen to others without jumping in to assert our own, but my experience. Having understanding for one another is crucial. Take naps. Being rested is essential if we want to have energy for the important work of liberation theology and also of chasing the catnip mouse or the elusive red dot. Don't skip meals. Stay hydrated. We cannot live on treats alone. Take time for meditation or your own spiritual practice. Perhaps you meditate best sitting in the sunny spot on the floor, curled up on the big chair, or on top of a pile of books. Find the place and time that feeds your soul. Exercise and play some and stretch. And if you capture the catnip mouse, announce your triumph proudly. Bathe regularly. After all, you are a divine creation and you deserve to be treated with all the care and respect that entails. Therefore, take care to perform your daily ablutions. This is a spiritual practice, and when necessary, cough up the hairballs. Better out than in, after all. Don't hold grudges. It's true that sometimes someone might step on your paws. Let them know. Let them know that this hurt you and it's not okay. Learn what is safe for you, and then let the grudges go. Forgiveness is important. Forgiveness is eternal and unending. Even when the human servants say we have been bad, there are still scritches and dinner and cuddles. Simple things are joyful things. The paper and the boxes are endless fun. Take joy in the simple things. Own your mistakes and reject shame. We all miss the jump occasionally. That's okay. Learn from the mistakes. That's how we grow. Sometimes we must mourn and lament. At these times it is appropriate to sing the song of our people. Ishmael sang the song of his people all the way from Virginia to Pennsylvania. He sings in tune with Led Zeppelin, if you were wondering. Sometimes those around us are mourning or in need of comfort. At these times, curl up and be with them. It is enough just to be with. We don't need to question each other or even find words, because sometimes there just are no words. What's needed is our presence. Remember that it feels good, so good to be loved and cared for, especially if we have ever been cast aside before. Let yourself be loved. Presence and gentle touch are ever so important. When someone shows you love, return it in the same way. And best to keep your claws in, especially if you're touching a human person's face. Since the world changes a lot and things don't stay the same, hold on to whatever it is that gives you stability, which is probably a cat or a catnip banana. Appreciate the open windows. Even if we never go to the outside, we can watch it from the inside. Love everyone and sit with everyone, especially the ones who say they are allergic. This is also a spiritual practice. Listen to everyone and eat together. Eating together means that we can protect one another as we eat, and that we also share our sustenance. Eating together is a way that we show love for one another. This is another important spiritual practice. And dream with one another. We can dream about the outside. There's always hope for a fresh start and a new place to snuggle, no matter how long you've been on the street. Sometimes you might need to defend yourself, and that's okay. We can be brave. Adventure awaits. Now teach one another. This is how we learn how to get up high on different cabinets and how we learn to open the cabinets and how we find out where the treats are hidden and where the toys are. Teach one another. If you are being ignored, try sitting on the newspaper, the book, or the computer keyboard. Also, it is very helpful when your human is working to help them on the computer by walking on the computer keyboard. When things are scary, stick together. We can protect each other best that way, and we will also give each other strength. Care for yourself. Care for your clouder. You know, a clouder is your group, your tribe of cats. Eat, pray, play, and rest some every day. Be aware of the world around you. Balance on things. Now that may sound like it just means about walking on things, but we don't all walk, do we? Balance is important in all of the things that we do. Balance. And may you capture the elusive red dot. Namaste.